everyone, Sara Belmonte here with Moms Out Marketing, your mom mentor, and we love to give you the behind the scenes of entrepreneur life, and we do that through our YouTube channel, Behind the Scenes with the Preneur. Today, you are going to meet an amazing entrepreneur, Miss Plano, a local beauty, and a heart for children and helping others to live fearlessly. We're really excited to have her on today. Just a few things. Make sure you have liked and subscribed, hit the bell. Also, there's so much going on our YouTube. So we have our behind the scenes, we have our trainings and lessons for all entrepreneurs, as well as book reviews. So if you're an author out there, I would love to read your book. We're always looking for great people to interview, to share behind the scenes of the real life of being an entrepreneur, because we know that it can be a roller coaster, ups and downs, then add the whole mompreneur life. My goodness, but we are here for you. So definitely, if you want more, join us at momsoutmarketing.com. But without further ado, I want to introduce you to a young lady who's making waves. She is teaching people to be fearless, to go beyond their comfort zone. And if you know me, then you know I say get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that is where growth happens. So let me introduce you to Landry Champlin, Miss Plano, behind the scenes.
Hi, Sara. How are you?
Hi, Landry. I'm so excited you're here with us today. Thank you. I know it's an early morning.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes. What time do you normally wake up? Because sometimes we actually chat early in the morning. So I believe you're an early bird.
So sometimes it just depends. So I'm a student at Oklahoma City University. So I have classes pretty much from 9 to 5 every day of the week. So I love to get up in the morning, go to the gym, start my morning with a little bit of productivity before class. So I am an early bird.
Yay. Okay. Well, some people may not be familiar with you or your titles. So can you share?
Yes. So hi guys, my name is Landry Champlin. I am Miss Plano 2020/2021, and I am an official preliminary title holder within the Miss Texas Miss America organization. And so I will compete for Miss Texas in June of this year. I was crowned Miss Plano September of 2019, but because of COVID, I was really fortunate and blessed to be serving a bonus year as Miss Plano. So that's super exciting. But I am an advocate for my social impact initiative, which is called Live Fearless, Defining Life Without Limits. And it's all about empowering everyone to find comfort outside of their comfort zone, just as you were saying, Sara, and be fearless in pursuit of their dreams. So I've been very, very fortunate this year to write a children's book called Fiona The Fearless Fox, start my own nonprofit organization, the Live Fearless Foundation, create a national holiday, National Live Fearless Day, and a bunch of other amazing, amazing service projects. But as Miss Plano, it really is my job to empower everybody to be the most courageous, most fearless versions of themselves. So I'm super duper honored to be here. I love everything about being Miss Plano. And yeah, I'm so excited to talk about living fearlessly with you.
Thanks. Yes. And I love that you have a national day about living fearless. I'm so excited to celebrate that this year. What is the date for that?
Yeah, so the date is September 2nd, and the significance of that. So I was crowned Miss Plano on September 1st of 2019. So September 2nd was the first day that I made a promise to myself to be intentional and live fearlessly every day as Miss Plano. So when I was awarded a bonus year through COVID, I really took the opportunity to celebrate my crown anniversary, quote unquote, with something really, really big. So it's a really exciting event. And I got to reach a lot of people on a national level through it. So.
That's wonderful. So September 2nd, living fearless. I love that it was like a date and then it was an intention, like this has to happen. And then now educating more people to do that. So congrats to you. So I want to hear a little bit more about you. We want to get to know, your family. Was everybody on board with you being in the spotlight? Now, tell me more about that.
Yes. Well, shout out to my family. Hello. So I am one of two siblings. I have a younger brother. He is 15 years old. His name is Grayson. He is the best. He's a freshman in high school. He plays tennis. He's really, really smart. Love him. Amazing. But to answer your question, I grew up in a very supportive household. So I actually started singing when I was very, very young. I grew up with a speech impediment. And so, growing up, it was very difficult for me to communicate in ways that were effective because I had a stutter. And so I was placed in voice lessons pretty early on because you don't stutter when you sing. So I kind of fell into the music scene, fell in love with it. But being a performer in the Dallas-Fort Worth area led me to compete in the Miss Texas organization. And so my parents, they've been so supportive. They, oh my gosh, they would drop just about anything to do anything for me. And they've been really, really instrumental in seeing through all of my success within the Miss Texas organization. So shout out to my family, shout out to my brother. They're thebottom.com. But yes, they were extremely supportive. They are extremely supportive of everything I'm doing as Miss Plano. So.
Oh, I love that. I have such a supportive family, and it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
Them lifting you. I think my mom is even on here on the live. So hi, Mom. Love you. Yes. So no sibling rivalry.
No. Thankfully, my brother and I, we are involved in such different things. There's really not any room for that. The only thing is he does play piano. And he's really incredible. And I started playing piano when I was like 13, 14, but I quit for a second. Now I'm back in college and I'm playing. And so we have a little bit of a thing going on there. But other than that.
Okay, awesome. So have you ever done a duet then?
Oh my gosh, no, but that would be amazing. I'm going to ask him about that.
Let's make that happen on the Live Fearless Day on September 2nd.
Oh, I know. That would be perfect.
Yes. Oh, and if my brother's on, maybe he can do something too.
There you go.
Musician. So JP, shout out to you. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. I love it. Yeah.
We have a local musical affair. Awesome. Yeah. Well, tell me, so did you ever think that you would be in pageants? So yes, you started your music and you were singing, and I had no idea that you don't stutter when you sing. Is this just your personal experience, or this is just the way our vocal cords work? Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So and don't quote me on this, but I'm like 97% sure that people as a whole, they don't stutter when they sing. And I think that's simply because of the way that singing is structured within our vocal cord situation. So basically the type of stuttering that I have, it's called blocking. And so essentially what happens is when I'm speaking, something misfires in my brain and it causes my vocal cords to close together, not allowing air to move through. And so when you're singing, what kind of separates singing from our normal speaking voice is the continued use of air. So it's kind of forcing that airway open. So that's why I don't stutter when I sing. And I believe that is true for every form of stuttering, but I'm not entirely sure. Again, don't quote me on that, but that is what happens when I sing. So yeah.
That's great. And how did someone help you understand that? Or did you just notice that when you were singing as a child?
Yeah, so I was actually diagnosed with my speech impediment when I was very young, 3 or 4. And so when I started going to speech therapy and I started to kind of stumble into singing, those were just things that were kind of taught to me along the way. And the older I got and the more I understood about my speaking condition, the more that I was able to kind of pivot and use singing and music as a way to communicate effectively. So it's been kind of a learning process. I was super young when I was diagnosed, but the older that I get, the more I learn, and the more I learn, the more control I have over it. So it's super exciting.
Absolutely. Doesn't it start with awareness? I feel like everything, I mean, as long as you're aware, then you can start taking the steps to, conquer that challenge, or let's just talk about the fearless, conquer the fear. Now, were you fearful when you started speaking in public and when you were singing because you had your stutter?
Yes. So prior to my experience competing within the Miss Texas organization, I really struggled to do basic things. Anything that had to do with communication, I was struggling. I could not order my own food at a restaurant. I had a lot of difficulty making friends and introducing myself to my classmates. I hated giving class presentations. I hated reading out loud. Really anything that forced me to take that step outside of my comfort zone and speak with others was really, really difficult for me. And so when I started competing competing in the Miss Texas organization, actually, this is one of my favorite stories to tell. So I started competing when I was 14, and I was competing for the title of Miss Plano's Outstanding Teen, which is really funny because I'm Miss Plano now. But that was my very first local competition within the Miss Texas organization. And what was so interesting about that, if you're not really familiar with that competition, we have a phase of competition called onstage question, where you basically walk on stage in your gown and you draw a question out of a little bowl, or somebody reads you a pre-prepared question and you have 20 to 30 seconds to answer it. And so I was asked a very simple question about what my platform was at the time, and I physically could not answer it. I was standing on stage having a major stutter block, and I really don't think I articulated anything. I pretty much used all of my time just trying to get the very first sentence out of my mouth. And so that was kind of a direct representation of what would happen as a person who stutters when I was forced into those types of situations where I was having to speak in front of people. And so I didn't win that competition, but I did fall in love with the Miss Texas organization, and I saw all of its potential and how it was going to be able to not only impact my life, but impact the lives of others. And so I continued to compete until I won my very first title in 2016. And from there, it's been kind of just a continuous journey of me finding power and this idea of, finding comfort outside of your comfort zone. So saying yes to every opportunity I had, not only to speak on stage and speak in settings like this, but, go out into the community and speak at service events, get in front of as many people as I possibly can, because the more that I do that, the more I've been able to realize that my level of confidence and my speaking is directly correlated to how well I'm able to articulate and communicate. So that's pretty much been my experience. It's definitely been a journey. I've been involved with the organization for 6 years, which is crazy. And every time I do an event, every time I do a live stream just like this, my speaking ability gets a little bit better. So super duper excited to be continuing as Miss Plano and be competing for Miss Texas in June.
Yes, congratulations on that. And so I love how you said, I put myself intentionally in places like speaking engagements and on podcasts. And actually, you have your own podcast even too. Yes. Congratulations, Fearless Files. So how did you get to that mindset? Because we talk a lot on Moms Out Marketing about the mindset of a preneur, and how do you get from that challenge of, oh my gosh, this is something that I am aware of, like for instance, it could be the stutter, it could be COVID, I know you were crowned during COVID, but how do you get to the point where, okay, I accept this, but I need to move on, and these are the things I can do?
Right.
What was the shift in your mind?
Yeah. I love this question. So actually, I think it's built off of a couple of things. Sara, I know that we've definitely talked about this, but self-awareness is extremely important. All of my close friends and family hear me say that on a regular basis, because I do think there's so much power in being able to not only see yourself in a light that's going to be beneficial, but see yourself how others see you too. And so that self-awareness gives you that sense of control and that sense of power, and being able to lead with intention. The other quote I kind of live my life by, in addition to self-awareness, is this idea that nothing worth having comes from a comfort zone. And so when you're asking me about how I was able to kind of intentionally place myself in those situations, and for all of the entrepreneurs out there who are looking to kind of do the same thing, I think it really comes from that realization that, we have to walk in the scary place. We have to be able to push ourselves. We have to be able to push the limit of what we think we can do in order to achieve the things that we want. Because the reality of it is if it was easy, everyone would do it. And so as a 14-year-old kid competing in the Miss Texas organization, I had that realization the second I left my very first competition. I saw all of the potential, not only within this program and for myself, but I saw all of the potential I had to be able to impact the lives of others. And so I realized that, that end goal and that dream and that result was more important than the fear that I was holding on to. So I took that self-awareness within myself, and I was able to kind of set up that intention and set up each of those goals to be able to really push myself and do that. So to all of those people out there that are wondering, how do I take the first step? How do I take that leap? Just do it, because it is so worth it in the end to be able to push yourself outside of that comfort zone and do all of the hard things. So that's really what I've been able to do as, a title holder within the Miss Texas organization. And that's what I continue to talk about during my years as Miss Plano.
Absolutely. I love that. And I'm with you on the whole, like, Nike put it so well. Just do it. Yes. And thank you so much for the interview on your Fearless Files. I'm really excited to hear about that soon.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you.
I had a blast that morning. It was so funny because just since we're talking behind the scenes, we started off and I totally like messed up and I was like, wait, stop.
That's so fun.
And what's really funny is on a live, I'm totally fine. I was sharing this with someone else the other day. I'm like, lives are so fun to me because it's just raw and you just get to share and have fun. And that's why I really enjoy these lives. So if you are on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing so that we can keep you informed of all our behind the scenes. Also, we have a few questions coming in, so I'll be putting those up. If you have additional questions, just write them in on the comments, and we're happy to put them up throughout this interview. So thank you so much. So we've talked about how you've had to kind of pivot in different ways because of the challenge. We talked about, really the first steps of first you come with the awareness and then the step of I'm going to do something about this. Now I wanted to talk to you more about your brand, as a preneur. Tell us a little bit more about how you're representing your brand throughout the pageant, just everyday life, and then we'll ask some more questions.
Ooh, amazing. Yeah, so like I mentioned previously, my brand is called Live Fearless, and it doubles as my social impact initiative within the Miss Texas organization. So it's kind of all encompassing of everything I'm doing as Miss Plano. But it was created and inspired by my experience overcoming a speech impediment by competing within the Miss Texas organization. So going back to that idea of what we just talked about of kind of recognizing that, what I was able to gain out of this organization was far greater than the fear that I had of speaking in a public setting. So that's kind of where Live Fearless came from. It came from my own journey living fearlessly through the Miss Texas organization. And so I've been able to do a lot of really, really wonderful things. Like I mentioned previously, I created a national holiday called National Live Fearless Day, where I empower everybody to try something new, to take that first step. And so I was very fortunate to speak on Good Morning Texas, along with a couple of other different places as well. And I was able to reach a lot of people and inspire them to take that step outside of their comfort zone. So that was a really, really cool experience. I've also partnered with a ton of nonprofit organizations, not only within the United States, but across the country or across the globe, excuse me. One of which is the International Stuttering Association. And so through them, I've been able to create a mentorship program that connects stutterers on a global basis. Over 70 million people on our planet actually suffer from some type of a speech impediment. And so being able to kind of connect them together and so they can share all of their, successes, all of their challenges, and really be able to relate to one another, I think is huge. So I've been able to create that through the Live Fearless brand. I also have written my own children's book. It's called Fiona The Fearless Fox. It is now available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, on my website. And so Fiona The Fearless Fox tells the story of Fiona. She is a fox who empowers all of her forest friends to not only overcome their fears in the fearless pursuit of their dreams, but to recognize, their worth and their talents. And so she takes the entire book to lift up all of her friends. And in the end, they end up lifting her up and kind of instilling that same idea of living fearlessly within Fiona. So that's a super duper sweet story that has been months in the making. So it's super exciting to see that come to fruition. And then the most important thing and what I'm most excited about from my year as Miss Plano and kind of cultivating this Live Fearless brand is my brand new 501c3 nonprofit organization, the Live Fearless Foundation, which we are actually launching on April 10th. And I can talk more about that in just a second. But the Live Fearless Foundation, once again, was kind of founded on this principle that nothing worth having comes from a comfort zone. And so I personally believe that if we can reach more kids and empower them to be the most courageous, most fearless versions of themselves, they're going to go into, their adult life ready to live fearlessly in all that they do. So we are able to empower students to find their own fearless in several ways. The first of which is by awarding scholarships. So we'll be awarding 2 scholarships at the launch of the Live Fearless Foundation tomorrow. But we award scholarships to students that are kind of encompassing and really being able to exhibit what it takes to live fearlessly. So that's an application process that students can can apply for, excuse me. And so that's a really, really cool thing. So scholarships, we also offer character education programs and tangible resources. I think it's so important that if you're talking to students about the importance of living fearlessly, that you're leaving them with something that they can always go back to, that can serve as a reminder to them that it is important to take those steps outside of your comfort zone, and be fearless in pursuit of all of your goals and all of your dreams. So we are also able to do that. We are also hosting a series of discussions with really cool, fearless individuals that kind of embody what it means to find comfort outside of your comfort zone. So the Live Fearless Foundation is kind of the overarching piece of my entire brand as Miss Plano. But what we aim to do is empower the students of Texas to really take those steps outside of their comfort zone and the fearless pursuit of their goals. So like I said, we are launching the Live Fearless Foundation on April 10th at Leavenworth, Texas in Plano. You can get your tickets on my website, www.missplanotx.com. It's going to be a fantastic event. We are hosting former Miss America, Betty Cantrell, along with a panel of incredible fearless women, including former Miss America's Outstanding Teen, Nicole Gia, Shyla Phillips, Shannon Sandiford, Christine Tang, and Larissa Maynor as well. And we will also be awarding 2 scholarships, and there will be a raffle. We are also hosting some DFW businesses, and there will be some surprise performances as well. So it's going to be an absolute blast. I am so excited. I'm so honored to be able to, have this brand and to be able to reach so many people and empower them to be the most fearless versions of themselves. So it's kind of all encompassing. There's a lot of info there, but I'm just really, really thankful to be able to be in this position to be able to talk about it.
Yes, thank you so much. And so we are sharing down below missplanotexas.com. If you want to grab your tickets, you can do that. She also looks for different businesses to sponsor, correct?
Yes.
So definitely reach out. And speaking of the brand, so I know that you have so many people looking up to you. Right. Even my daughter, every time I do an interview with you, she's like, okay, do I get to see Miss Plano? And my daughter walks around every day with a crown. If she doesn't have one on, someone will say, oh, why doesn't she have her crown on today? So it's really cute. But how is it being in the spotlight constantly? Like sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, I just kind of want to, Yeah. I mean, everybody needs some of that, right? The incognito-ness. But tell me, how has that been a challenge and a blessing?
Yeah. So I definitely think that, anytime you are serving in some type of a public servant role, there are going to be highs and lows. For me, thankfully, I love being on stage. I love being in front of people. I love being able to serve in this type of a position. So to say that it's easy all of the time would definitely be a lie. Again, it does have its highs and its lows, but I absolutely love serving as a title holder within the Miss Texas organization. I've been able to reach and impact so many lives. And so that really has been so pivotal in making my experience so amazing within this program. I also grew up as a performer too. So I was very used to kind of being in those subjective types of environments, and being able to stand on a stage and, kind of give everything that I have and have that kind of be, enough, if that makes sense. And so I have definitely loved my time serving as a title holder. And also to kind of further answer your question too about serving as a role model to young people, I definitely think that comes with a certain pressure and a certain expectation. But I also think that pressure can be used, to my advantage a little bit, because I think in order for, someone to be a really great role model and to be a really great presence and a light for our next generation of kiddos, I really think that you have to be authentically yourself. And so in my experience serving as, a title holder within the Miss Texas organization, that's kind of been what I have lived by. In addition to living fearlessly, I'm a really, really big advocate for just being who you are as a human being. And so I really am trying, and I work tirelessly to be as authentic as I possibly can every single day and show up for all of these kids and be that role model that they deserve. And so I think that kind of overshadows any of the pressure or any of the negative that might come with being in the spotlight. But 9 times out of 10, it is a fantastic job, and I am so thankful to have the opportunity.
I love that. And it's so true. I remember growing up and So my brothers and I are 8 and 10 years apart. So they're
Okay.
younger. I'm the big sis,
Right.
mini mom. And I always just felt like I want this, the role model. I wanted to be that role model. I wanted to be someone that always look up to. So I don't know. I was similar to you where I didn't feel like so much of the pressure. I just knew that if this is what I wanted to offer them, and this is where I felt God called me to be. So, we talk so much about legacy, and I think it's so important as owner of founder of Moms Out Marketing. That is why we have created this particular brand, this particular community, because, our children are our legacy and we want to be there for them. And that's why it's important for us to introduce you to great community leaders like Miss Plano, who's out there just ready to help us live fearless, and to get us out of that comfort zone. Because whether you are 2, 4, 40, 20, however old you are going to have fear in your life. And it's not about just, it's about like really understanding that it's just a part of us and it's a part of the journey. And how do we get to the next level of that, because we are made for so much more, and that is conquering that fear. So would you agree with that?
Oh my gosh, yes, you summed it up so perfectly. That was amazing.
Oh, thanks. Well, tell me a typical day of Miss Plano. Like, I know that's really hard. I'm sure you have, so many hats and different crowns, shall we say?
Right. Yes. So a typical day as Miss Plano. So what's so amazing about my job is it does not look the same on any given day. So in addition to being Miss Plano, I am a college student, a full-time college student. I am a musical theater major at Oklahoma City University. And so what a typical week looks like for me, I'll just use this week as an example. I'm in Oklahoma 5 out of the 7 days of the week doing class, singing, dancing, acting, prepping, and doing things like this via Zoom that are virtual and serving the best that I can from Oklahoma. And then I will come home on the weekends to Texas and do as many service events as I possibly can. I try to pack my weekends with opportunity. That way I'm able to not only serve as the best title holder that I can, but impact and reach as many people as possible. So, I'm at school through the week. And then when I'm actually serving as Miss Plano as my job on the weekends, I wake up nice and early. I get ready, put on my makeup, put on the sparkly hat, all of the things. And I pretty much attend any event that I've been able to book, or I, work to make sure that I am continuing to book each of those things. So all of the events look pretty different. Some of them I am speaking in, some of them I'm speaking and performing. Sometimes I'm just there as a volunteer to help and to serve others. And so it looks really, really different. But I think that's what makes it so great, because there are not 2 days that look the same as Miss Plano. So it's a really, really exciting job. It definitely keeps me on my toes, and I've been able to work and experience a lot of different things, not only personally through the Live Fearless brand, but through the state of Texas and the city of Plano. So yeah, super duper exciting to be able to do all of those things.
Awesome. So we have a few questions and comments from people on. So let me share those in just a second. So we have April on, who says, good morning.
Good morning, April. How are you?
Pooja that says, good morning. We have Kimberly Bowie saying, beauty, brave, and brains, powerful combinations. Thanks for sharing your message.
Thank you.
All right. And then we have Carolina. She says, good morning. And she actually has a question. She's so happy that she caught us on the live. Good to see you today, Miss Plano. So speaking of the typical day and everything, Carolina has a question regarding wellness. And, this is a great one, because self-care is something that I know I personally struggle with, just the everyday like self-care, especially being a busy mom and a busy, business owner. So I like that she asked, what is a wellness tip you like to share with us that keeps you from feeling burnt out or overwhelmed? Please comment if you have ever felt burnt out or overwhelmed.
Ooh, everybody raise their hands.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody on this live. I love this question because it's so true. It's so easy to kind of feel that stressed, burned out, overwhelmed feeling. I get it all of the time because I am a full-time student in a different state, competing in the Miss Texas organization. And so I have my hands in a lot of different areas. And so it definitely is overwhelming. But I think my biggest wellness tip, I actually have a couple. So I am a huge advocate for having a healthy lifestyle. And so that really comes from being able to prioritize not only physical fitness and making sure that you are including some type of movement and exercise in your everyday routine. But I am also a huge believer in the power of kind of setting up boundaries, because I do think, as busy people, we have our hand in so many different areas that when it is time for us to kind of pour into ourselves and take that time to be physically active, or take that time to, eat a healthier meal, or, kind of take that time to wind down and decompress, being able to say yes to the opportunities that are going to, kind of further you and further what you are able to achieve as an individual, but also kind of setting up those boundaries and saying, okay, this is all I have time for this week. I'm going to prioritize this, and this, and I'm going to take time for myself here. And that's all I am going to take on. And being able to say that and have that just be enough. I am one of those people that I like to say yes to as many things as I possibly can, but that is the quickest way to get overwhelmed and stressed. So it's kind of that delicate balance of being able to prioritize your own lifestyle and to be able to pour into yourself and to be selfish in that, but also being able to prioritize serving other people and taking care of all of the things that you need to take care of. So my biggest wellness tip to kind of wrap it up is to take opportunities every single day to pour into yourself, put something into your daily routine that allows you to, feel full and to feel satisfied throughout the day. So yeah, just really make sure to prioritize yourself.
Absolutely. We do a lot in our closed Facebook group in Moms Out Marketing. And yesterday we do Wellness Wednesday because we just feel like it's so important. Yesterday, Sara Oswick had shared something about stillness. Like, do we take time for stillness? And I thought, you know what? I really need to put that into my time block, like into my calendar. You're so right. That's a way we can pour back into ours. Carolina said, I love it. Thanks to your response.
Thank you for such a great question. I love
Yes. And so ladies, men, whoever you are out there, really do take the time for the self-care. And I keep talking about it because I am still learning it. I really am. I've taken Wednesdays now because I like kind of the alliteration of Wellness Wednesdays. So I try and soak in my tub every Wednesday. And I'll tell you, this Wednesday was absolutely crazy. And I soaked in there for 5 minutes. And I thought, why am I even doing this for 5 minutes? By the time I was out, it felt so good. It felt
always.
So good.
Always.
So even if it's 1 minute, if it's 5 minutes of silence or whatever it is to fill your cup, do it because it matters. It matters in the long run.
It makes a huge difference.
Yes. So I have another question. This one's from Nina, and she did ask it prior. So she would like to know, how are you preparing for the next competition? This is Miss Texas.
Oh my gosh, what a fantastic question. So this might be kind of a long-winded answer, just because the Miss Texas organization and preparing for the Miss Texas competition, there are so many different facets and so many different areas that we have to prep for. So a very, very large part of my prep for the Miss Texas competition does come with just continuing to build my brand. So all of the things I've been able to do through Live Fearless throughout my years as Miss Plano, those have all been in preparation for the Miss Texas competition. So whenever I compete, compete for the title of Miss Texas, we have several different phases, the first of which is interview. And so that's kind of where the Live Fearless brand plays in. I speak a lot in my interview about the importance of living fearlessly and what I've been able to accomplish. And so in terms of training for that area, I do a ton of mock interviews. I do a ton of roundtable prep. Our interviews within the Miss Texas organization are 9.5 minutes with a 30-second closing. So 10 minutes in total to kind of be able to share your heart, to share your brand, to talk about politics, everything in between. They're also press style. So I stand behind a podium and there's a panel of judges behind a table. And so they just kind of fire questions at you. It is insane, but it is so much fun to be able to share your year of service with them. And so prep for that, again, just looks like talking as much as I possibly can, speaking in front of people, doing a ton of mock interviews. And then the other phases of competition, they're all on stage. So the next is talent. And so I am a singer. I'm also a musical theater major. So I'm getting my talent prep in pretty much every single day as a full-time student. But just kind of going through and making sure that I am as practiced and prepared as I possibly can be. We also do onstage interview, and something that we just added this year is called an onstage TED Talk. And so that is essentially like a 30-second pitch talking about what your social impact brand is. So kind of prepping for that. And that really just comes again from being able to speak about my brand and do so in an articulate way. So that prep work pretty much just looks like continuing to do things like this, where, I'm kind of stepping out and I'm sharing a little bit of who I am. This all kind of preps me to, take on the job of Miss Texas. So we have those phases of competition. Also, we compete in evening wear. So super excited to show y'all my favorite gown ever. It's going to be awesome. But yes, there is a lot of prep that goes involved. A lot of it is mental prep. A lot of it is physical prep as well. I'm in the gym. I have a trainer. I'm working constantly to make sure that I am not only the best version of myself mentally, but the best version of myself physically as well. So it's kind of an all-encompassing thing, but I always like to talk about prepping for a competition as just kind of a lifestyle shift. It really teaches you to take on that idea of being the best version of yourself all the time, which is sometimes difficult, but really, really beneficial to be able to learn exactly how to take those steps to be the best version of yourself. So I hope that answers your question of what it looks like to prepare, because it is a lot. There's a lot of different things, but it all kind of feeds into this big idea of being able to share my brand and be the best version of myself.
Love it. And so tell me, you said that, I want to go back because you started with the speaking, and you have to prep for a TED Talk, the panels. So I know we have a lot of business owners on here that I'd like to share. Are there 2 or 3 tips you could give us just from your experience of speaking, even if it's like prep work or those, because we do the 30-second commercials in our networking, which you got to be a part of. Thank you so much. So if you have any particular tips on how to concisely share your brand, any knowledge and who you're being connected to, can you share that with us?
Oh my gosh, yes. So I'm absolutely super passionate actually about talking about all of these interview style things because I do value communication so much. But I think one of the biggest things when you're looking to share your message in a very succinct way that people are able to really benefit from and they're really able to understand and grasp is by creating something called an elevator pitch. So this is something they teach us how to do within the Miss Texas organization. But essentially, if you imagine that you are on an elevator with someone for 30 seconds and you only have those 30 seconds to talk about who you are, what you do, and why you do it, kind of thinking about that in that context and being able to articulate exactly what you do and who you are, but also to take that one step further and talk about why you do what you do. So as Miss Plano, I have the opportunity to kind of share my experience as a person who stutters, and that kind of feeds into why I talk so much about living fearlessly and why that is so important to me. So being able to kind of map out in your brain why you do what you do and how that kind of feeds into what you're passionate about and what you're doing now. And then also to kind of take that one step further, as crazy as it sounds, you have to practice all of your little sound bites and the things that you talk about. I am a huge believer in speaking to yourself in the car, speaking to yourself in your head when you're in the shower, like thinking about the things that you're going to say and thinking about what's going to be the most articulate and the most succinct way to say them, I think that's really, really huge. As much as I think we all would love to just be blessed with this public speaking talent, it's not something that comes naturally to a lot of people. And I definitely include myself in that. It's something that I definitely have to work at, but being able to kind of recognize that if you can talk about something in a succinct way, and you're kind of practicing exactly what you want to say, practicing each of those sound bites individually, I think that's really going to take the pressure off of you when it does come time to share, your 30-second commercial, or it does come time to share a little bit of your business. And then also to kind of take that one step further to recognizing that when you're sharing a piece of yourself, when you are sharing a piece of your business, when you are interviewing, when you're doing something like this with a panel discussion, I always say that you have to feel in control of, your space. You have to feel in control of your conversation. And so the way that we do that is by kind of answering questions and being able to drive the interview and drive, all of our just talking about our business in a way that is going to lead other people to ask the questions that you want to talk about. So it's kind of that idea. If someone asks you a question about something specific with your business and you want to talk about something different and you kind of want to pivot, you are able to answer that question and set it up in a way to where the person that is interviewing you can kind of say, oh, well, I didn't think about that before. Let me ask you about this. So kind of taking control of that interview situation and being super succinct and being super articulate in the things that you're saying. Those would be two of my biggest tips, if that makes sense.
No, you did that so well. Thank you. And what I am doing for anybody catching us on the chats, you will see where I'm doing timestamps. So you can see where you can get the speaking tips, and you can also see where you get the wellness tips. So be sure you're checking those out if you want to go through the interview and make sure you zone in on the tips that Miss Plano is giving. So thank you for that. And no, you're so right. I love how you said practice. I have no problem talking to myself.
Right.
I may do that too much.
I do too. I agree.
Oh no. But another thing that I thought that I've been doing is even speaking but recording myself and then seeing where is it that I need to work on, or what could I say better. But the recording helped me so much. And even when I'm super busy, I'll just even, it sounds funny, but on Facebook Messenger, I'll record a message or something that I want to say. It could even be an idea. But being able to go back and ask myself, did I do this in the best way, or can I restructure this? So excellent tip there, Landry.
So important. Yes. I also think it's so important too for you to be able to hear yourself back. I do that not only with speaking, but with singing too, because we do sound different than, we kind of feel like we might internally. So that is super important.
Yeah. So I'm in choir, and sometimes when I'm in choir, I'm not a trained singer. Like I'm actually so thankful that they accept me in there. Like, my husband's so bad. One day he told me, he's like, "You're not going to win American Idol or anything." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm not trying to make."
Like, no, I'm not. I'm in
church choir.
It's too funny.
And I love them. They were such a beautiful community. But sometimes I even have to hear myself, because when you're in a big group setting, you hear everyone else. I kind of just put my ear like this so I can hear myself.
Right.
And there's so much that you can learn from even just that, because often you can hear a lot of noise in the world. And when we go back to like this whole fearless thing, it all goes back to, what are you hearing within yourself?
Yes.
Because that's the voice that matters. So and so make sure when you're talking to yourself, as you were saying, Miss Plano, everyone, make sure you're talking to yourself in a positive light, because your body, your brain are going to react to whatever you're saying.
Right.
Yes. Well, I want to know more about Fearless Files, where we can find you, and what's going on, because I know you have a lot going on in April. So I appreciate you dedicating this month, and this time with us. So I'm going to share I know you're going to be doing an Earth Day book live reading on April 22nd. We're so excited. Can you show your book one more time?
Yes. Fiona the Fearless Fox. There she is.
Yes. Now, one thing that I do want to ask you about your book. Now, do you feel like Fiona is you?
Yes. So the short answer to that is yes. So in the opening section of the book, it talks about Fiona is a fearless fox. She's different from the rest. She wears a crown. She never frowns. And she's on a quest. And I really, really identify a lot with that character, because I definitely think, like, in order for us to talk about living fearlessly and for us to be able to empower our friends, which is exactly what Fiona the Fearless Fox says, we have to kind of recognize that power within ourselves. So yes, I kind of made some similar choices with Fiona, kind of compared her to myself, just a little bit. But I think that's what makes the book so much more special, is it kind of mirrors my real life experience with, a character. So.
I love that. It's so important to share your story. That's how people can connect to you. So I appreciate you sharing your story today about both your challenges, your pivots, your wellness tips, your speaking success tips. So thank you so much. So in culminating, I do want you to tell us just everything that's going on that is going on with you, because it is a lot, even just in the next few days.
Yes. All right. So there's so many things happening right now in Miss Plano world. The biggest of all of them is I'm launching my brand new 501c3 nonprofit organization, the Live Fearless Foundation, tomorrow. Oh my gosh, April 10th from 12 to 3 o'clock at Leavenworth in Texas in Plano. Again, we are going to be giving away scholarships, hosting a keynote speaker with former Miss America, Betty Cantrell. We're also going to be engaging in a panel discussion centered around this idea of living fearlessly with former Miss America's outstanding teen Nicole Gia, 2 former Miss Texas winners, Shyla Phillips and Shannon Sanderford. We are also going to be featuring Larissa Maynor and Christine Tang within that conversation as well. So it's going to be a really, really amazing event. If you would like to purchase your ticket, lunch is included. We're going to be doing a meet and greet. I will be there. We're having surprise performances, all of the things. It's going to be a really awesome kickoff to this 501c3. So if you would like to get your tickets, head over to www.missplanotx.com. And if you have any questions or are interested in sponsoring the Live Fearless Foundation in any way, be sure to direct message me. You can do that through my website, also on my Instagram at missplanotx. And I will definitely give you all of that information to be able to do that. And then in addition to the launch of the Live Fearless Foundation, which is tomorrow, April 10th, I've also just released my new children's book, Fiona the Fearless Fox. You can purchase it on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Books A Million, and several other sites. If you just Google Fiona the Fearless Fox, Landry Champlin, a lot of different places will come up for you to purchase it. But all of the proceeds for Fiona the Fearless Fox will directly benefit the Live Fearless Foundation. And so I would love to be able to send you a copy of my brand new book, which is super exciting. And then I also have a podcast that Sara will actually be on. It's called The Fearless Files. It's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you listen to your podcast. The Fearless Files is there. But on that podcast, we talk a lot about the importance of living fearlessly. And I talk to a lot of really incredible individuals about how they're able to kind of apply that within their own life. So Sara will be on very, very soon. So be sure to check that out, buy the book, Fiona the Fearless Fox, and join me tomorrow, April 10th, for the launch of the Live Fearless Foundation.
Awesome. I am so excited to be on the Fearless Files. I'll be sharing about how to step out of your comfort zone when you have to shift from career to mom and then back to both career mom or mompreneur, as we say it on Mom. We'll talk about Wonder Women. Wonder Woman. That is my favorite movie, the first one.
Oh, it's so good. It is so
good. Yes, that and Indiana Jones. So I don't know. Gladiator. Yes, Landry, thanks so much for spending this morning with us. Everybody who's on, definitely say hello in the chat. Let us know where you're visiting from. Is it Dallas? Is it, where in Texas, or even national, global? We'd love to hear from you. So thanks again, Landry, for sharing your story. We'll be hearing more on April 22nd about Fiona the Fearless Fox and sharing that with our legacy, our children. Thank you for being here, a role model, and I'm so excited to share on your launch tomorrow.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sara, for having me.
You got it. All right, so that was our behind the scenes with Miss Plano. If you'd like to be featured, make sure you comment and send us a message on our website, momsoutmarketing.com. We are here to bring you the behind the scenes of entrepreneur life. We know it's a roller coaster, but we are holding your hand and we hope you're enjoying the mompreneur journey because we sure are. Talk to you soon.